I recently attended an event where I was super excited about the networking because there were so many people who were going to be present at this conference who I really wanted to make a connection with. I felt I could learn from them. I felt there was really good synergies with what was going on. And I was scheduled to be at the event for 3 nights. And on the last day, I rescheduled my flight and I came home an entire day early. Why did I do this? Because while the content and the learning was good, the networking at this event was absolutely blah. It was an extremely cliquey organization. Every time I would go to a happy hour or luncheon, people were always sitting with their friends and their coworkers, and it was like a big family reunion. Now, I teach people how to network. I have an understanding of how to break into a conversation. However, this group was almost standoffish. If they didn't know who you were, if you weren't part of their little club, they really didn't want very much to do with you. Now, I knew a few people there and I was able to hang out with them. It wasn't horrible, but I was blown away at just how comfortable everybody was with ignoring people they didn't know. I often do a little experiment when I'm at a conference. If I'm going to be the opening keynote speaker, I come in a day early and I go to the kickoff party. I'll get a glass of wine and I'll go stand at one of these high boy tables and I'll start a timer and I'll wait and see how long it takes for somebody to come over and say hello. Now, I try to look around at people. I try to look interested. I smile, not like a creepy smile, but I try to make sure that I look approachable and that I would love to talk to people. As people walk by, I kind of do the little head nod thing, make it sound like I'm having a good time, really ready to have a conversation. It can often take 20 minutes before anybody walks over and says, "Hey, you look like you're all by yourself. Can I have a conversation with you?" I was at one event and two women came and said, "Can we share your table?" And I said, "Sure." And I introduced myself and they looked at me and said, "We're in the middle of a conversation." And they proceeded just to talk to each other the whole time. Well, this is a problem. If we're going to live events coming out of the pandemic, if we're re-emerging to go to association conferences because we want to make connections with people, we want to become part of a community. If we show up and nobody talks to us, we're going to take a flight home a day early. Now, I didn't make a big deal of it. I didn't tell the meeting planner, "I'm out of here." But this happens all the time. If people come to experience the networking opportunities and nobody in your organization talks to them, well, I'm here to tell you, they're not going to come back the next year. The odds of me ever going back to this organization, because it involved airfare, a pretty expensive attendance fee, and a 3-night hotel stay, the odds of me going back are pretty slim. Therefore, when you're organizing a multi-day conference, you have to make sure that you're making room and you're making time and you're educating people on the power of the human connections that take place. Because when people fill out the surveys of why they attend events, everybody says, sure, they come to learn, but they also come for the networking opportunities. There's lots of ways that we can learn. There's all kinds of videos that we can watch on YouTube, like you're doing right now. There's all kinds of courses that we can take. There's other things we can do to get the knowledge that we need to help advance our careers. But if we want to be part of an industry, if we want to be part of a community, we need associations to bring us together. But when we get together, we need the people there to be excited about welcoming new people in. That's why I think it's important that in your opening session, you have some sort of a message about don't let people stand alone. If you see somebody sitting by themselves, be that person who walks over and includes them. Discourage people from being cliquey. Another organization I know has a lot of people who think they're really fancy and they go, "Oh, we'll rent a suite. And at night when the cocktail party's going on, we'll just take our special group to the suite." That again undermines the community. It's great that those of you who've been there a long time have community, but usually 50% or more of the people who attend an industry conference are new to that conference that year. If they feel lonely and ignored, they're not going to come back, and that's going to hurt the organization. So get back to the idea of having first-timers events. When I started as a speaker, I was often hired to be the keynote speaker for the first-timers conference. And over the years, many of these associations that would bring me back year after year stopped having a speaker or stopped having the first-timers event altogether. And when I asked them why, they said, "Well, we're trying to conserve money." So as we try to conserve money, we're leaving all these first-time attendees at our events kind of stranded by themselves. So start looking for ways that you can create a culture of connection in your conference. Make your association a place where people are welcome. Get those kind of key people, deputize them to be the ones who invite people in. Make clickiness yucky. Make it that if you're clicky and you have a private room and you're running away every night, I mean, there's a time and a place to hang out with your friends. Don't get me wrong. But if you're always behind closed doors, if you're always in some ivory tower, then your association should look at you like, well, you're not really helping for the long term of this organization. Community, collaboration, and conversation is what industry organizations are all about. And we have to lead by example. How does your trade association do when it comes to welcoming people and making newcomers feel like they belong? If you don't know the answer, or if the answer is, we probably don't do a very good job, then you have to do some things to change that, because we're in a world where membership organizations are struggling. And if your organization isn't opening up the doors and welcoming the new people in, eventually you're going to close the doors.